Hey everybody, I'm Malashir. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be building another competitive team on Showdown unconventionally. We're going to be building Sunny Day today to kind of counteract what we did last time with Rain Dance. Unfortunately, it didn't go very well. Hopefully our Sunny Day team fares a little bit better. I'd like to get at least one win this time. So with our current meta right now, we've got a couple of different options with what we want to do with Drought. We can go with Ninetales or we can go with Torkoal. It looks like right now Ninetales is PU and Torkoal is UU. That's really weird to me. I'm used to Ninetales being a little bit higher in the roster because of the Drought ability. Just because of its speed with 100 speed and 81 special attack, you're looking at a really strong hitter. But I'm willing to bet money people are using Torkoal because of the higher defenses. I mean, 140 is really good, and 70 is nothing to sneeze at. I personally just prefer Torkoal. I know we're going for unconventional here, but in my mind that is unconventional. Usually whenever I played back in Gen 6, people were using Charizard as their Drought Pokemon. That's what I'm used to seeing, and so I'm okay with going with Torkoal and calling it unconventional. So how do we want to build Torkoal? The first thing we want to do is give it a Heat Rock. This is going to kind of do the same thing that Damp Rock did for the Rain Dance team, where instead of only making it sunny for 5 turns, we're going to be making it sunny for 8. And again, we really want to take advantage of those extra turns. Torkoal's a little bit on the weird side just because of, oh, you know what? I see what's going on here. He knows Body Press now, so his really high defense stat, 140, is what's going to be used to factor how much damage Body Press is going to do instead of its base attack. So I'm thinking maybe that's why it's rocketed up to UU. What else do we want to give him? Rapid Spin is always good. Oops, we accidentally got rid of Body Press. Rapid Spin is always really good just because it's going to do the same thing Defog does where it gets rid of field hazards like Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rock. The one leg up that Defog has on Rapid Spin is that it's Flying type. The reason that's a leg up is just because Rapid Spin is normal type, so it's not going to do anything if you have to use it against a Ghost type Pokemon. Whereas Flying, there isn't a type out there that Flying doesn't affect. But that's okay. Rapid Spin does work 9 times out of 10. I don't have an issue going with that. We might as well give him Will-O-Wisp just because cutting the attack of stronger Pokemon in half is always going to be a really advantageous thing for us to do. I think the last thing we're going to give it is Fire Blast. Normally I would go with Flamethrower if I was given a choice between Flamethrower and Fire Blast, but given that all of Torkoal's other moves are either based off of a completely different stat or are mostly for utility, I want to give it something that's going to be a little bit more powerful and have a little bit higher impact, even if I'm sacrificing that accuracy, as uneasy as that makes me. Now, as far as this EV goes, what they're recommending is a special defense EV build, and this is absolutely what I'm going to do, just because, again, its defense stat is already 140. It's not the highest in the game by any means, but it is really high. So if we boosted 70 special defense, we can almost get it up to where the defense is at without any EVs, and you're looking at a pretty solid all-around tank to lead your Sunny Day team with. Now, the first ability we really want to take a look at is Chlorophyll. I don't know if you gathered this or not, but I really like fast Pokemon. So when we pull a Pokemon that know Chlorophyll, we have a couple of different options here. Now, if I was building a team where I was going with the conventional choices and I was trying to make the strongest possible team I could without any shenanigans or tricks or anything, I would go with Venusaur. It's got 80 speed, so the Chlorophyll is going to double that to 160, and it has 82 attack and can learn Swords Dance. So you're looking at a really strong sweeper with a Swords Dance Venusaur. Now, nothing is going to be quite as good. Even Tangrowth here, I get why this is here because Tangrowth can also learn Swords Dance, I believe, and even if it can't, it's got enough other shenanigans to keep it going. And with 50 speed, you're doubling it to 100. It's not going to outrun everything, but it is going to outrun a lot. And with the 125 defense, it's nothing to sneeze at. Personally, I'm worried about the 50 special defense, so I think I'm going to pass on Tangrowth. Are you kidding me?
What?
Liligen can learn Quiver Dance.
Those words mean nothing to me.
So in light of the fact that I just learned that Liligen can learn freaking Quiver Dance, we're going to choose Liligen as our Chlorophyll sweeper. Why does this matter? For 2 reasons. Number 1, when you use Quiver Dance, you're looking at raising your special attack, your special defense, and your speed by 1 stage. So you're raising 3 different stats and giving them a 50% boost by using this move once. So if we stack 252 into her HP and 252 plus into her defense, 1 use of Quiver Dance is going to make Liligen a goddess. Then we top all that off with Chlorophyll and make her double the speed that she already is. So you're looking at starting off with 180 speed and then increasing that because you use Quiver Dance. I don't see any reason to choose anything else now that I know this thing has Quiver Dance. I honestly will probably choose Liligen as my Chlorophyll Sweeper moving forward instead of Venusaur, which is crazy for me to say. Now, we're going to go with a Life Orb as the item on Liligen. I don't like that it sacrifices HP, but the 30% boost is something I just can't pass up. Now, we're building a Sunny Day team, so since we're Sunny Daying, we have a couple of different moves that are really going to benefit from that. The first one is Solar Beam. While the sun is active, Solar Beam and the physical move Solar Blade don't have to charge. Normally, you have to take a turn to charge the move, and then on the next turn, you'll actually fire it. That's not true when the sun is out. You just use it. The other big move that's going to benefit from the sun being out is Synthesis. Normally, Synthesis only heals 50% of your Pokemon's health, but if the sun is out, it heals 75% instead. So what we really want to do to round Liligen out here is give her a special attack move that isn't grass type. Something that's really going to be able to punch the Pokemon that take advantage of her weaknesses as hard as possible. Now, unfortunately, I'm not seeing a lot of moves here that are special attack moves that aren't grass type that it can learn. The only ones I'm really seeing are Dream Eater, Hyper Beam, and Pollen Puff. Why is nobody using Pollen Puff? I'm going to give it Pollen Puff. That's a great move. If you're looking at Pollen Puff, it looks like you can choose to target your ally with it instead of an enemy, but if you target an ally, it heals them. If you target an enemy, it actually does damage. That's the way I'm reading this. And it's Bug type. So unfortunately, the only moves that it can learn that are not grass type are Pollen Puff, Dream Eater, and Hyper Beam. Dream Eater is strong. The problem is that it has to be on a sleeping target, and we're not trying to manipulate the sleep tactic today. That'll be a different video. The other option is Hyper Beam, and I love Hyper Beam. It is one of my favorite moves in the game. However, the only Pokemon that I personally believe should really be using Hyper Beam are strong special attack normal type Pokemon. Why? Because with 150 power, yes, that's a lot of power you're packing, but you're going to skip a turn when you use it, and the only way that's worth it is if you can get the absolute maximum amount of potency out of it. So you're looking to get a 50% boost on that 150 and bump it up to 225 power just from a stab bonus alone. Especially since, again, because it's normal type, it can't be super effective. So I don't really think Liligen is going to be the Pokemon we can use it on to the best of its ability. With Pollen Puff, we actually have a couple of Pokemon out there that are going to be weak to Bug type, so we really want to manipulate that. Now, granted, those Pokemon aren't going to be necessarily the ones that are going to be a threat to Liligen. So our next Pokemon, we're going to be looking at something that might be able to cover those weaknesses. Alright, so for our unconventional fire type, I've decided to go with Colossal. Now, Colossal is going to be fire and rock. Unfortunately, fire is weak to rock type, so rock is going to be super effective against it. The rock typing that Colossal has is going to put that back to normal damage, but it is going to resist both the fire type and the bug type that Liligen is weak to. In addition to that, since we're using Colossal to counter fire, it's going to have an awesome chance here to trigger one of its abilities, Steam Engine. This Pokemon speed is raised by 6 stages. That's maxed out if it gets hit by a fire or a water move. Now, looking at Colossal speed, it's 30. 30 is awful. However, if you get 6 stages on a stat, you're basically quadrupling it. So if we actually go ahead and put 252 EVs into its speed stat, we're going to bump its base speed up to basically 120. Now again, that's not the fastest in the game, but it is really, really fast, especially for a Pokemon like Colossal to be moving that quickly. So let's take a look at what kind of moves Colossal can learn. Now, it looks like Colossal has a pretty even, actually equal attack and special attack, so we kind of want to see if we can go with a mixed fighter here. I want to see if it has any status moves that it can use to increase any of its stats at all offensively. Alright, so it does have Iron Defense. Unfortunately, that's not going to raise either of its offensive stats, but a nice boost on that defense might be solid, just because if we do use Iron Defense, we can basically up the power of Body Press. Again, a really strong move for Pokemon that have high defense. Now, unfortunately, looking through the rest of his moves here, Colossus doesn't really have anything that increases any of his offensive stats. So if we want to increase his offense using a status move like this, Iron Defense into Body Press is going to be the best way to go. So that's what we're going to do. First two moves are Iron Defense and Body Press. Now, since Colossal is weak to Water 4X, we are going to give it the Pasho Berry. The Pasho Berry makes it so that any Water-type attacks that he takes that are super effective against him, surprise, they are going to be cut in half. Now, granted, that's still going to be super effective against him, but if we can time it right with enough HP on Colossal, that won't take him out, and it'll trigger his Steam Engine ability, which is exactly what we're trying to do. Now, since we can't increase his attack or his special attack, what we want to do is give him moves that are going to have really good coverage. Fortunately for us, Colossal is Fire and Rock. Those are both moves that have great coverage with a lot of Pokemon that they are super effective against. In addition, he also has Body Press, the fighting move that we're going to give him that he'll Iron Defense into. Again, great coverage that a lot of other types just don't offer. Alright, so we're really going to manipulate the fact that Colossal is Rock Fire by giving him Fire Blast, one of the strongest fire moves for his special attack stat, and then also Stone Edge, one of the strongest Rock-type moves for his attack stat. This will give him a really rounded out stat buff, and I do think we're going to go with the suggested stat spread here. This will give him a really rounded out coverage for both his attack and his special attack so that we can really invest in his defense and speed instead. We're basically looking to use Colossal as a stop plug, if you will. We're not looking to use him to kill things, we're not looking to use him to sweep, we're just looking to use him as coverage for Liligen. Now, for our next Pokemon, unfortunately, we do still have a huge issue with the Ice type. Colossal is going to be hit normally by the Ice type as Fire resists it and Rock doesn't. Same thing goes for Rock. And we now have additional types that we have to cover for because Colossal is still weak to moves like Water and Ground. So we still have to cover for those as well. Alright, so for our next Pokemon, I decided to go with Rotom Heat. Now, personally, I don't really like using Rotom because I remember when I was in Gen 6 competitive, he caused me a lot of problems as Rotom Wash. However, with Rotom Heat, we're going to be looking to manipulate the fact that he is indeed Fire-type. He's also going to be able to resist Ground-type because he levitates, and he's going to be able to resist that Ice-type that we've been having a little bit of a hard time finding a nice wall for. That's a little unconventional. Now, Rotom Heat is in UU, which is a little higher than I typically like to go when I'm doing these unconventional builds, but most everything else just isn't going to give us the coverage we're looking for, so we're going to move the meter up a little bit. Now, what we want to do is really give him a choice scarf because we can just manipulate the fact that he has high special attack by giving him moves that have a high power. Even if it's something like Overheat where he's going to lose some special attack for it, we can just swap him out and then swap him back in and he's got it back, he's just as fast, he's going to hurt just as much. And we're also going to give him Thunderbolt and Volt Switch, because those are electric type like he is. We're going to round him out by switching out Discharge for Dark Pulse. I like Thunderbolt better than Discharge just because it has more power. I do like Discharge for double teams or anything that has more than one-on-one Pokemon, but this is a one-on-one build that we're doing, so it's not going to benefit us to choose Discharge over Thunderbolt. Alright, so we're still really struggling to deal with that nasty Rock type. We don't have anything that can really stop it. Colossal is going to take normal damage from it, but Torkoal, Liligen, and Rotom are all going to be devastated by that Rock type. In that interest, I think we're going to make sure one of the two is Steel. And personally, I love Steelix, so I'm going to choose Steelix. We're also going to go with an Assault Vest Steelix. What that's going to do is it's going to multiply his special defense by 1.5. So if I put 252 EVs into his HP and 252 EVs into his special defense with a nature that boosts that special defense, what that Assault Vest is going to do is multiply this 251 and increase it by 50%, getting it pretty dang close to where Steelix's defense is. Steelix isn't going to be doing a lot of damage this way, but he's going to be able to take almost any damage that comes his way. Now, because he's so bulky this way, we can actually take a risk and give him Dragon Dance. Granted, his speed is only 30, so he's not going to get moving very fast, but this is going to allow him to outrun a lot of the slower mons that are in the meta that use things like Trick Room when that Trick Room is turned off, or things that are just used because they're so slow, but they have other benefits that trade off for that slowness. So he's going to be able to outrace some of those. And with his defenses as high as it is, he may be able to throw off what those advantages those mons are getting are. Steelix does have an disputably massive defense stat, so giving him Body Press is a really good idea. I realize we've given that to a lot of our Pokemon, but I can't stress how good this move really is. We also want to give him Earthquake just so he can go ahead and take advantage of his ground type. Plus, we don't really have any ground coverage here. We have Stone Edge on Colossal, but that Earthquake's really going to round out what kind of Pokemon we can hit hard for super effective. Now, again, with that stab, we really want to manipulate it, and the best move we can probably use here is going to be Iron Head, in my opinion. Granted, Iron Tail does more damage, but the accuracy is just so low that I hate using it. Now, for our last Pokemon, we're going to do something really unconventional. Why? Because I find it hilarious. We're going to do Cleric Jolteon. Now, we can give him Quick Feet here, which is going to increase his speed by 1.5, also allowing him to ignore the speed drop from paralysis. So we actually kind of want Jolteon to get paralyzed. Granted, he's not going to move every turn, but it wouldn't be the worst thing for us if that did happen, just because he's going to get that huge speed boost from it. Now, like I said, we're going to build him as a Cleric. He's not very defensive, so it's really going to be hard to make it work as well as we want it to, but I'm up for the challenge. As far as his offensive move, we want to give him something that takes advantage of the special attack that he does have. When we're attacking with Jolteon and we really want Jolteon to do damage, we don't want to be missing, and unfortunately Thunder just doesn't have enough accuracy to make up for the huge power. So we're going to give him a lot of speed boost and a lot of HP boost. That's exactly what we want. EVs and HP, EVs and speed. He's not the bulkiest with only 60 defense, but the 95 special defense is really nice, and who knows, maybe this will work. Alright, let's take some looks at some shinies. Gold Turtle, I like it. That's your name now. What does shiny Liligen look like? Ooh, I like that, that's pretty. Shiny Colossal. Gets a different sprite, apparently. Okay, whatever. Shiny Rotom. It looks like Satan's Easy Bake Oven. That's your name now. Some Pokemon I use so frequently that I just have a name for them. So when I'm using Steelix, if it's not shiny, I name it Argentum. Since I do want it to be shiny, we're going to name it Aurum. Shiny Jolteon is green. I don't know what else to say about that, but we're going to go with it. Oh, okay, so apparently the only reason we don't qualify for UU is because Satan's Easy Bake Oven's nickname is too long. Sorry. Alright, so normally I would start this team in OU because whatever Pokemon I have leading the team is usually going to be OU just because of its ability. But it's letting me validate for UU, so we're going to start there, and if we do well, we'll move up to OU.